Users of Reddit, what is the worst thing your teacher has ever said in front of a class? I had an art teacher that got caught drinking. Apparently someone from the previous period told on her. The vice principal came into our class and told her to come with him. We all heard her yell, "They drove me to drink from the hallway." One of the art teachers at my high school openly talked about drinking in class and dared the administration to fire him. I'm not here because I need the money, I'm here because I enjoy it. This is how I keep enjoying it. Sounds like if Hemingway was a teacher. Not in my class, but one of my professors once said, "You look like you enjoy riding a bicycle without the saddle." It's called a trials bike, old man. All the cool kids ride them, while asking everyone in the class what they'd like to study at uni, hyping up everyone so they could help us pick our year 11/12 courses. My year's welfare advisor stopped at me and out loud in front of the class told me I'm not cut out for uni, and maybe a more obtainable goal would be like a cleaning lady. Jokes on you, Timmy. I start next week. Edit/note, just to specify, this is definitely no hate on cleaners. You guys are essential and I have total respect for the profession. It's a tough job. I was offended by the calling out about university more than anything. Plus, who says you can't be a cleaner and have a degree? You absolutely can. Cleaning, or? I don't know why there are so many girls in this class. You're supposed to be married and have children already. 11th grade advanced physics teacher. I had a teacher in my engineering class who would make jokes about women being dishwashers. I was in a class of about 3 girls and just under 20 boys. And people wonder why less women go into STEM fields. Did you continue and or graduate after? At least half of you will be dead by the time you reach 20 years old to a class of 11-year-olds. Edit, clarification. Holy fuck'emly. A student handed in a blank sheet during a test. Teacher took it and said student's sheet is as much a virgin as every girl in this class. We were 13 to 14. He's done other stuff that made students uncomfortable, but we weren't taken seriously. And that's how one of the most prestigious teachers at my high school was able to get away with fucking his students. He was even married to a former student. But no one believed the girls who stepped forward. But don't worry, guys, he was put on paid leave and was later allowed to resign with his dignity intact and now teaches for a different school district. Yikes. I hate how common that seems to be. That teacher also forbade girls from wearing scarves in his classroom, even during winter when our buildings didn't have the best heating. We suspect it wasn't really innocent either. Eventually our class, same group of people over 2 years, was given a new teacher due to our complaints, but the teacher himself never faced any consequences as far as I know. He was still teaching there when I was in high school. Said that all we had to do to understand the reading was to try harder. This immediately after someone who was visually impaired told her that no accommodations had been provided, so trying harder was kind of out of the realm of possibility. We all lost a lot of respect for that teacher that night. Well, u/I_ace_English, I guess it wasn't a problem for you at least. I go to anger management school. Sometimes the teachers lose it. They once said, "Shut the fuck up, this is why teachers give you cunts worksheets." Ironic. Got the anger part down. Now let's work on the management part. My AP Bio teacher was a little behind on the times and on the first day of school called a student daddy. Safe to say everybody busted out laughing and never let her live it down. Edit, I completely forgot about the time my history teacher called a kid in my class a one-pump chump. We still call him that in the locker room to this day. I mean, even if daddy didn't have the meaning it did today, that's still a weird thing to call a student. I am an AP teacher more than a little behind on the times. Does daddy mean something other than a child's father? I had a professor that had given us an in-class assignment. He was a shitty teacher and we were first-year students, so we didn't finish it, and he told us to take it home and finish it, and when we were done to bring to me. Bring it to daddy. He was Greek and didn't know the context, but he was the head of the department, so we all held back our giggles and left. As a Greek, I can confirm that daddy isn't used as a sexual term as usually as in English because the Greek version is just cringe. Mu pi alpha mu pi kappa alpha sigma. Also middle-aged Greek men use weird terms all the time. Emo. This wasn't the only odd thing he said. He was just an eccentric old dude on top of not knowing the lingo. Nice enough guy one-on-one, just weird in a classroom. Had a high school color guard instructor say that she didn't want to see and jiggling when we came back from Thanksgiving break. So you ladies had better put your fingers down your throats if you can't control yourselves. One of the members had recently been hospitalized for anorexia nervosa. Her comment didn't not go over well. Did she get fired and banned at all? She did not return the next year. I'll squeeze your balls, little man. It was an all-guys high school and the teacher was the headmaster / a Catholic brother / teacher. He was saying this as a follow-up to a kid acting up and being a wise ass. He says, "Oh, you think acting up means you have balls?" Kid says, "Yeah MD." Then he responds to the kid with that gem. Everyone was weirded out and thought a line got crossed. Come on, it's easy at an all-boys school. Well, congrats. Now that you've proven yourself, keep your behavior in line with everyone else who never felt the need to overcompensate. He told our whole English class quite seriously that for his 30th birthday he wanted two 15-year-old girls to sit on his lap, and he even named them. I don't know what he was telling us for, maybe he thought we would pressure them into doing it or something. Jesus Christ, what a fucking predator. Deleted. Roadkill is a sick-ass nickname. Yay, it's a lot better than Taserface. Old guy history teacher told a student in my class to go home and slit his fat wrists. Edit, this same teacher would also state after the last class of the day, well, time to go home and beat the wife. He also once fired a gun in class. Although it was only an antique blunderbuss, the dude still fired a weapon in class. Man, old teachers can be the worst. We had an old German substitute teacher at my high school. Like so old it looked like he could collapse at any given time. He told us about how he used to be a Nazi back in World War II. I guess this is also the time to mention that my school was predominantly white. We had maybe 20 black students total. The sub had asked one of these students to bring him a stapler or something like that, which the student that brought him. His response, which got him fired immediately, was something like, "Wow, I didn't expect one of your kind to be helpful. A lot of you people are like monkeys." Pretty sure the only reason that student didn't punch him in the face is because the teacher would have crumbled. Edit, just to clarify, this was in the US. He was teaching a world history course. He had immigrated to the US from Germany at some point. He didn't specify if he was actually in the Nazi party or a sympathizer. Oh my God. During English class we were watching Tomorrow When the War Began. Those of you who have seen the movie know they start the movie talking about sex. The teacher goes, "Sex is not that great, I have actually not had sex." He's a full 30-year-old man and says that to a bunch of 13 to 14-year-olds. Those were the days. Was your English teacher Coach Steve? He just wants to make thick in your warm. Our yoga instructor, fat parents give birth to elephants. Are you sure they didn't moonlight in biology? The morning after parents' night, boy in the class was talking over the lesson for the 100th time that term and the teacher says, "Johnny, this is exactly what I was saying to your mum last night." The class burst into laughter, the teacher went red at the implication and Johnny didn't talk over the lesson anymore. Sounds like my computing teacher. Looked at a mentally handicapped girl and muttered retard just loud enough for a few people at the front to hear. Wow. People like this should be fired on the spot and shamed publicly. Edit, yes, a bit hyperbolic and knee-jerk response. People below me are correct. During 1 year of high school in a bio class, the students were fooling around in class not doing their work and the young, had to be in her late 20s, professor yelled, "You all stop jerking off." Then turned red as she realized what she had just said. You can only imagine how that went in a room full of 16 to 17-year-olds lol. Yeah, that would have been amazing to see, probably one of the funniest things that could happen in a classroom. Had an English sub. He was clearly in a hungover state taking naps on an hourly basis. When he is awake he's not being a good teacher, he would cuss openly in front of the class, ask us what we were doing, we didn't know, and one time he was hitting on some freshman girl loud enough for his flirts to be heard by the whole class. He was later removed for unknown reasons. She read out my name and looks at me and says, "Your parents named you this? Are you willing to say your name? It's Neil Ashma." New year, new teacher, and his introduction was, "If you are loud I will hit you with the chalk." We all thought it was very funny, but the next day we learned what doom was because he never missed. Do chalks hurt? They do if you get hit in the eye. My sister once had a teacher tell the class that they had to write a paper on a famous Egyptian. You know, like Socrates, my sister was given in school suspension for disrupting class with her laughter. She appealed it, and in the appeal meeting with our mom and the principal, the teacher insisted that Socrates was Egyptian. The suspension was cancelled, my sister didn't have to write the paper, and as far as I know that teacher is still working at the same school as a teacher. That's a teacher who isn't even trying. At least Google Socrates before submitting the ISS slip. And certainly come up with some explanation that doesn't sound crazy for the scheduled meeting. Sounds like she didn't even want to admit to herself that Socrates wasn't Egyptian. Bitch was in denial. At the start of class our teacher just sat in silence for 5 minutes, we waited for him to begin. He then said, "You have just wasted 5 minutes of your life. You will never get that time back." A bit harsh on a class of 9-year-olds. You stayed quiet in class like children are trained to do, and berated for not doing. Like seriously, what was the plan? What was the perfect goal? The children mutiny because class didn't start on time? Leave you marooned on a tiny desert island with nothing but a pistol and a single shot? I hate asshole holier than thou teachers. Especially with little kids. For sure. So many people are incredibly unqualified to be left alone with children. Arrogant and mean people that have no idea what type of damage they're doing, and they're with your children 8 hours a day. It's not good. I will be in your butt. Our band director was trying to fire us up for marching season, but he had never given a motivational speech before, so he fucked up all the intense parts and made them mildly sexual. Haha, that's not even mildly lol, going straight to anal. And I will also be in your mouths, deep in the throats of victory this guy, probably. 7th grade math teacher heard some 9th graders saying that he probably never gets any. Proceeded to explain to his 7th class that he fucks his 10 years younger wife a lot and that they are in an open polyamorous relationship. He should have just told them that he is in a polynomial relationship with his wife, and that would have shut them up. Ah yes, polynomial. Worst thing and also best thing. History class. Kid punches the kid in front of him in the back of the head. Teacher sees this and says, "Now he's gonna punch you in the head and you're all gonna sit there and watch because there's nothing you can do about it." A punch for a punch leaves the whole world concussed. Seems reasonable. Let's get started. I remember sophomore year of high school we had this seriously obnoxious kid who annoyed us every day. He would make some sexual joke, and like every joke became a dead horse, and complain how hard his life was in school and claimed that the teacher loved making us do this. Our teacher had enough one day and snapped. He looks at him dead in the cock eye and yells, "You don't know what shit I put up with, you little fucker." To give clarification, this teacher has had many years of teaching experience, was a US Army Ranger, and was an EMT. Very nice and friendly individual who could be lenient. He also taught both algebra classes, an AP Physics and an AP Calculus course. That kid only did 3 things: eat, smoked weed and played video games. He's been arrested 3 times now. Edit, typo. Greater than she looks at him dead in the cock eye. What? Right in the pecker, mate. I was in 5th grade and there were a few students who weren't getting great test scores. So during our lesson one day she calls out some of those students and basically paints a really morbid picture of what their future would supposedly be. She said they'd end up working at McDonald's for minimum wage, barely making enough to pay rent in a shitty apartment with no way to pay for food, electricity or anything else. It is not uncommon for elementary teachers talk to each other about kids like this. They are sometimes called that fells. Dumb for life. Most teachers aren't dumb enough to call them out in class about it though. The Legend of Kevin
https://www.reddit.com/r/husq@m_comment/m_medium equals i.o.s _app and _name equals iosmf.